Welcome back to the 5-Minute Podcast. Today, we're talking about the Wendigo.
Specifically, the Wendigo from the PlayStation hits Until Dawn.
Did it make the PlayStation hits?
It did.
Wow.
Top hits. It had the red cover, if you remember that.
Yeah, the good old red cover that is going away soon.
Unfortunately.
The Wendigo. Specifically the rendition that is in Until Dawn.
Which was an interesting, I feel like, stylistic choice. Because most often the Wendigo you see in like a Google search, a video, things like that, it always has like a very antleristic form.
Right. And correct me if I'm mistaken, but they have a shapeshifter type of ability, if I'm...
Yeah, I believe so. And it's usually, I know it's like sourced from like Native American lore.
Right.
I know that always is like a big part of it.
And they're just horrifying. Like,
They're terrifying.
I remember in a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book, there was a story about, it was a Native American story, it had a Native American in it. This is back when cultural appropriation wasn't a thing. But it talked about some monster, I'm not sure if it was the Wendigo, but it would drag its victims behind it, and the scary punchline of the story was that there were bloody tracks in the snow.
Oh, I do remember that.
You remember that story?
I do, yeah.
Was that a Wendigo? Do you remember?
I read that in elementary, of all things.
I also read it around that time.
So, but I know that like the origins to become a Wendigo is like you're either infected by another, so kind of like zombie-esque, but also from Until Dawn, you've kind of pieced this together as you play the game, is if you have to resort to like cannibalism.
Right.
You kind of become that because you're like soiling your soul.
It's the curse of the land.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they cover in the game where, maybe it's in Easter eggs where that originates.
I feel like we could have got more info if that guide didn't die so early.
Right. The dude with the flamethrower.
Is there a way to save him? I don't even know. Because I feel like you'd get more lore.
No.
Oh. Who knows? You may have to revisit that game on a next playthrough sometime.
That would be a fun... If we're ever out of games, we'll have to add that one to the list.
I'd revisit it.
Do a Save Everyone Let's Play. But Wendigo, if you were confronted by a Wendigo, what would be your tactic? Would you choose the hold still and don't let them see you tactic, or would you try to pierce their nearly impenetrable skin? Would you use fire?
Because Until Dawn Wendigos, there was those interactions where you have to keep the controller still because they can't see.
Mm-hmm. And you just can't set your real-life controller down.
No, so maybe I would do that, but I feel like I would freak out. But then in other renditions, they don't like fire, and they can see just fine. And then in other renditions even, in a movie called The Ritual, which kind of has a Wendigo-type monster, it's like an animal, like territorial standoff. So direct eye contact, making yourself big, and you kind of have this like ego face-off.
Don't let it feel your fear.
Right, exactly. I don't know, what would be your go-to if you were confronted?
Honestly, a lot of it would be context dependent, what I have available. If I were to be attacked in my home, which is not very likely because we're out of that area, I feel like I would find a way to light the house on fire somehow. I think Wendigo is a usable excuse on insurance claim.
Yeah, and then you get a new house. But I don't know, if I were to experience that, I might just throw in the towel. I lived a good life.
10-gauge shotgun might do it. 8-gauge, but yeah.
Well, that'll about do us for this episode. Stick around for